All right, shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in this live, man. Much love to the fam. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. We have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in the live on this one. OG, shout out to you, Willie, Desi. Much love, man. Just a quick stream, man. This is Patreon Tuesday. So we'll be going in depth on this later on this afternoon. We'll also recap the Saints press conference that they held at 2 o'clock. We'll go over all of that on the Patreon. So shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream. And of course, the news of the day, man, is pretty much Tyrann Mathieu, man. Been with the Saints for more than a few years now, and he's hanging them up right before the NFL training camp, the Saints training camp starts. Tyrann Mathieu says, man, 12 is enough. He hanging his cleats up. Safety Tyrann Mathieu is retiring after 12 seasons. And it was a bit of a late surprise, but this guy is definitely a Hall of Famer, man. He definitely going to be going in the Hall as well. So big ups to you guys. Y'all do me a service. Much love. What's up, Dave? Dave T says, why he wait until now? I know, brother. Why you do that right now, bro? But that's all right, man. Let's go over this article. And then, of course, I'm going to give options, fam, and talk about the people on the team and also options as well. You know how we do. Late July surprise. Tyrann Mathieu is calling it a career. The decorated safety is retiring after 12 NFL seasons. The Saints announced Tuesday. He combined an underwhelming 2024 season. He was 33 years old, expected to fill one half of the headline grabbing safety tandem with his former teammate Justin Reid in the backfield for the Saints coming up this year. Instead, the Louisiana native is walking away after 12 years. So, and this is one of the quotes right here. I'm a little surprised we had some advance notice. Says Mickey Loomis, I just had so much respect for Tyrann and what he's accomplished. I mean, he's a legendary Louisiana player, legendary NFL player. Really appreciate his time with us. He was fantastic. What a great career. So Tyrann Mathieu career took on a nomadic appearance, but contributed at every stop along his journey, earned 3 first-team All-Pro selections, 3 Pro Bowl nods during the course of his 12 years in the NFL, won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs, and landed on the Pro Football Hall of Fame All-Decade Team list for the 2010s. Strong indicator he'll receive a place in Canton in the future. He definitely is a Hall of Famer. Whether it's first ballot or not, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, is definitely going in the Hall. A consensus All-American and SEC Defensive Player of the Year at LSU, Tyrann Mathieu was seen as a high-value prospect, but all field concerns contributed to a slide for him going into the 3rd round. And that's something that should be talked about with Tyrann Mathieu, that early on he did have some stuff that was going on. People had some concerns about him, but his character reigned true. And he was able to get things under control, and the man played for 12 years and retired by his own way. You see what I'm saying? He did it his way on some Frank Sinatra stuff. But anyway, Arizona scooped him up with the 69th overall pick, reaped the rewards, which included consideration for the Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2013 and the first-team All-Pro selection in 2015 before a contract dispute that led to his release. He found his home in Houston for one season in 2018 and latched on with an ascending powerhouse Kansas City team the next year, where he filled a vital role in the back of Steve Spagnuolo's defense, serving as a safety who could do anything for the aggressive defensive coordinator. Though slight in stature, 5'9", 190 pounds, Tyrann Mathieu wasn't afraid to get his nose dirty and made plenty of plays for the Chiefs defense, right? He would then spend 3 years playing an assortment of highly important contests with the Chiefs before making a homecoming by signing with the Saints back in 2022. He finished his pro career by starting in every possible game over the final 3 seasons, tallying 228 tackles, 24 pass defense. He had 10 picks and 3 forced fumbles with a memorable career of which he can be proud of. He leaves football in the same state in which he began playing it. So how does the retirement impact Saints D in 2025 for Tyrann Mathieu? Basically gone. The Saints signed Justin Reid to a 3-year deal at $31.5 million during the offseason. It was seen as a win for the franchise that needed one after firing Dennis Allen in 2024. Reid was an ideal running mate for Tyrann, 2 players plenty of experience who could make a difference. Now there's just one left. Now with Tyrann Mathieu down in the 2024 season suggested he might be over the hill, but New Orleans' approach the season as if it was a top priority. They drafted safety Jonas Sanka in the third round with the idea he'll learn behind Tyrann Mathieu, contribute on special teams, and find a rotational role in the defense. With Tyrann Mathieu's surprise retirement, Sanka will find himself an immediate opportunity to earn a starting job, while Loomis will also look to add a safety to the roster quickly. Now, I want to say that Mickey Loomis did say they had some advance notice that he did right here. Here's the quote where Mickey Loomis said, this ain't no surprise now, that he said, I'm a little surprised, but we had some advance notice. What's that advance notice? What's that advance notice? Because I know the Saints signed a defensive end just the other day. They signed Tyler Shuck to his deal. They signed a defensive end the other day. How further along is that advance notice? Was it 6 hours ago? 12 hours ago? Because if you knew Tyrann Mathieu was going to retire, then we should have been looking at safeties, right? Veteran safeties or somebody. So I sometimes you don't know what to think of when people be talking because it don't make no sense. You got a safety there. Do you want to bring in a veteran to compete if you know Tyrann Mathieu? It's kind of a big deal if Tyrann Mathieu is retiring, right, from your defense. So Loomis told reporters, we'll certainly add a defensive back following Tyrann Mathieu's retirement, adding we will look for somebody available that can help us. Justin Simmons remains unsigned, is very familiar with the NFC South, spending time with Atlanta last year. Remember, we went for Simmons. The Simmons wanted more money than the Saints wanted to give him. He ended up in Atlanta. Could he be resurfacing here? Former safety Justin Blackman is available. 32-year-old Quandre Diggs is also available. So options exist outside of there for the black and golds. Before we go outside, let's kind of look inside for a second, right? Let's take a look at the defensive backs or the current team that the Saints have right here in terms of the safeties, right? If you look at what the safeties or the Saints have, you can see Justin Reid at the strong safety with Jordan Howden behind him. Terrell Burgess is also there. The free safety look, of course, we know the free safety, that's Tyrann Mathieu, played free, which means his responsibility was to protect from the deep ball going over the top of your head. So a very important player in the Saints defense. The free safety, the last line of defense, got to be a good one. Smart, can read, can react, has the speed to be able to get into places to make plays and prevent the deep bomb, right? Is that something the Saints want to trust to Jonas Sanka, even though Jonas Sanka is a good player who is going to be the future of the position? Is it time for the Saints to allow Jonas to do that? You heard what Mickey say. Outside of that, JT Gray, Elliott Davison, and guys like that there. Ugo Amadi, who's supposed to be listed unofficially as a safety. Are you trusting those guys, right? The answer is probably not. So who's available in free agency? Here it goes. How about Marcus Williams, right? Marcus Williams is available. That's right. Former safety Marcus Williams that literally put his head down and threw his body and hit his own player, allowing the Minnesota Miracle to exist. That was many moons ago. He played with Baltimore. He's currently available as a safety. Is this the same Marcus Williams? Did he improve? Adding him to a 34 defense. If you're willing to trust that guy back there. And I know it's not the same player. He had an opportunity to learn, had some decent play with Baltimore. Still, I don't think he's the guy. I think Justin Simmons is a better safety than him, even though he's 3 years younger. So you have Jordan Poyer, Rodney McLeod, and Tashawn Gibson, right? Simmons could be somebody the Saints look to because he kind of fits the bill. It's a smart safety, a guy that's aware, that knows how to make plays, that can make interceptions for you. He just makes your defense better. So if I'm the New Orleans Saints, right? If I'm the Saints and I'm looking for help to kind of fill in the hole that is with Tyrann Mathieu going, I probably would look at Justin Simmons, just to be honest with you, with Tyrann moving. So regardless or not, Tyrann had a fantastic career, Hall of Fame career in my estimation. He's gonna be, good, really good player for many years. But outside of that, it's time to look forward, man. 9-year pro, Justin Simmons probably fits the bill. Remember last year signing a 1-year deal at $7.5 million. The Saints have a lot of money right now, and they should be looking to bringing in a Justin Simmons. So at the end of the day, that probably be what we're gonna do, right? Shout out to you guys, Marlon Mall, Quavadia, Sonia. I see you, Trey. What's up, Dre? Trey, shout out to my boy Trey. Much love for y'all. For Shazam, what's up, fam? Pop. Yeah, we have some things to take care of. Brother Byron, how you doing, sir? We got a few things to take care of. But anyway, we'll talk more about that on tonight's stream. But just to let you guys know about it, if you hadn't heard, that Tyrann Mathieu has retired, and the Saints are seeking options as training camp starts. So it's a bit of a surprise, but still in all, there is players out there that we can bring in. Justin Simmons is probably more likely my favorite to bring to the team as opposed to anybody else. We could afford him. We got a slot for him. Jonas Sanker could still learn behind a veteran. It just won't be Tyrann Mathieu, right? So there you go. Anyway, with that being said, yeah, I know Sonya said, she said, "What's up, Montreal?" Shout out to you. Maul says Marcus Williams robbed Cam Jordan from getting his Super Bowl ring. Well, we can't all put that on. At least, yeah, and last line of defense, he took the weight for that. But the reality is, the Saints shouldn't allow that game to get as close as what it was. If you go back and watch the whole game, the Saints allowed the Minnesota Vikings to put themselves in positions to take that game from them. The same way they did in other games where they let up off the gas, start making mistakes, start being scared and cautious, and that gets you beat in the playoffs. You have to be confident. You got to be strong. You can't be timid, weak, sad, stupid, and all this kind of stuff. It's just going to put you in a loser column every time because that's loser energy anyway. So in the end, we'll see. 504 Coast 6, Louisiana legend on every literally. Yeah, that Tyrann Mathieu excelled at every stop. He was phenomenal. Like I said, 5'9" guy, not the biggest guy, but made the biggest impact. He's a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. All right, M. Dot says, shout out to my dog, Honey Badger. Yeah, and absolutely. He should be first ballot there, man. AT Forces, I think we need to see what the young kids have. Saints are not expected to compete for the division. This is youth playtime. If the Saints get off to a hot start, then explore free agents. Hey, all I can say, AT4 is not a bad comment, brother. But Mickey Loomis already said in a statement, and if his words mean anything to anybody, he did say that they were going to go into free agency and look for a veteran safety. So it's not even need for us to even postulate on if they're going to do it or not. He already said today that they were going to do it, that they were going to look for a free agent safety to come in, a veteran safety to come in. And being that the Saints did have a connection with two of the top guys in free agency, which is Marcus Williams, we drafted him into the league, and Justin Simmons, who we brought in last year for a legacy before he ultimately took a bigger bag to go to Atlanta. He's also available. But in Staley's system, which safety makes the most sense? Who you going to trust right there? Justin Simmons is a reliable safety that is a really intelligent, gets interceptions, can help you line up the back of the defense. You need somebody back there you can rely on. Remember, that guy is going to be the last line of defense. So you would want that. And plus, it'd be a good thing to have a mentor like Justin Simmons for a year, like he would have had with Tyrann Mathieu, to be able to teach him the game. You see what I'm saying? So, I do, even though and you're right on that, a lot of the experts say that the Saints are not supposed to be competing this year, but the reality is that Saints don't feel like that. They really don't feel it. Saints feel like that they're going to compete, and they're going to compete and play in the underdog role. Entire NFL picked their team dead last. NFL depth chart, Saints dead last. I don't see how the Saints are dead last because they got a young quarterback and a new head coach. I don't get that. It's not like the head coach is a defensive guy. The guy's an offensive guy who's coming off a championship as a offensive coordinator with running back weapons and a strong offensive line they're going to add to. And a defense led by Staley. We know Staley can coach a defense just like Dennis Allen used to. So it's not these guys. So we know what they're going to do. But the underdog role and an agreeable schedule and having the talent to get it all together could happen. The Saints could flip their win total. We've seen it happen with other teams like the Commanders. We've seen it happen in recent memory. Well, teams that we've seen as not good catch lightning, and all of a sudden they start beating up on teams that's looking past them. They don't see the Saints coming until the last moment, right? So we're going to go from that. M. Dot says, Q, let me keep pushing. He says, let them keep pushing us down. That's perfect. I'm good with that. Goveda says, you need depth at the position anyway, so you need another safety regardless. JT Gray is a special teams guy, not a starter. It's exactly. JT Gray, they tried that with JT Gray. JT Gray is not a very good defensive back. Just going to be honest with you. And that's just been the thing with the New Orleans Saints over the last several years or so. They'll get guys that are really good special teams guys, but they can't play if you have to put them in the defensive back role. We had guys like Chris Banjo, couldn't play the safety position. He wasn't very good. we're talking about special team aces of recent memory for the Saints. Chris Banjo, Hardy. Remember Hardy? Guys like that. Those guys were excellent special teams guys, but when it got time for those guys to play their role that they came from, they were not good. Same thing with JT Gray. We just, they're just really good at one and not all. So anyway, they just have to keep looking. Baby Chase, about time he retires. He's been some trash, too small, not well. I mean, he slowed down a bit last year. And the first year he came down here, he had a really tough year trying to figure out what he needed to do. So, that first year he was a Saint was really tough, but he eventually picked it up and he got better each year. Now, last year, you seen some fade because some of those guys, they played very long. You had Demario Davis, Cam Joe. A lot of them guys start falling off a cliff because, you can't beef all the time. Eventually he catches up to you. It's a physical game. He was dealing with injuries as well. And he was like, you know what, man? He might have been in the spirit to come out and say, hey, man, I'm going to play this year and it's going to be my last. I'm going to fulfill my agreement and get out of here. But in the end, he retires. And then the economic component to Tyrann Mathieu retiring on the Saints, that kind of, helps them out to a degree, right? With Tyrann Mathieu, right? Let me see. Let me pull it up right here. The Tyrann's his money, because he's one of the top 5 money guys on the Saints team. It's Tyrann Mathieu. I knew they reworked this deal, but hold on, let me see. Hold on just a second, because that the money component really kind of is something you look at with him calling it. Hold on, let me see. Yes. So there you go. His dead money falls. So Tyrann Mathieu's dead money, just under a $500,000 cap hit the Saints get right on his money with him retiring. They got a lot of dead money too, if you think about it, because his salary with the Saints was almost $7 million for his final year, right? On the extension that he had, but he had a 2-year extension for 2 years at 13.7. That's 24-26. Then 25, he had 1 year left at $4 million, according to Sport Track, with a $2.4 million bonus. So a signing bonus. So there you go on that. So the Saints are going to get some of that money back if they're retiring, man. That $4 million or so that comes back to them. So yeah, it just keeps happening. This is going to be the lay of the land for the Saints over the next couple of years. We got guys that's going to hit retirement. Tyrann, he's gone already. You got Cam, you got Demario, you got Taysom Hill, Foster. These guys are ultimately contracts expire and they're going to go the same way. All right. So anyway, with that being said, King Eternal says, I'm getting younger. He says, I say I'm getting younger, may not be the worst thing in the world. Now, some people, I remember Prince, man, was on an interview and they asked Prince what was his secret to looking young. And he says that he don't celebrate birthdays. He don't pay attention, and it's a whole thing around time and all this kind of stuff. His philosophy he was talking about on an interview. But whatever he's doing, it must have worked for him. Also, Marley says car is going. Yeah, so the Saints are definitely doing their thing. What's up, JT? Shout out T-Say. I told you, Big Q. Yeah, it's all good, man. Tyrann's gone, man. The Saints going to pivot, bring a veteran in here to help the team, man, and it is simply what it is. But listen, we're going to talk more about this tonight on Patreon, man. We'll also we'll go over and listen to the interview that Mickey Loomis and the Saints did earlier today. We'll be going over that on TSC Patreon tonight. So shout out to the Patreon and YouTube membership family. We'll be on tonight covering all that kind of great stuff. But shout out to the rest of the family who want to join up with that. Y'all hit the description section. There's a link there as well. Also, it's links for our sponsorships and all that stuff. That's in that section below. So with that being said, I'm gonna get out on that. I appreciate y'all, man. I'll see y'all later on tonight on Patreon. Much love. Who Dat TV.